As an artist, I spend a lot of time working. My cakes or other projects can take anywhere from 10 to 50 hours on average, and a lot of the times even more than 50 hours if it's a really big project. So I'm not just sitting there in silence all of the time while I work. I love to listen to music, but it does not exactly fill all of that time. So as I started spending all these long hours working, I started listening to TV shows to occupy my mind. Now, I don't want to watch new things that I haven't seen that are interesting to me because that can distract me, or I just won't be able to follow along because I can't look at the screen and pay attention. So I need something that I've seen many times and love. And after listening to the show at least 10 times over, The Office became my #1 all-time favorite TV show. The Office is that show that I can just watch over and over again, and every time I'm gonna laugh, I'm gonna cry, I'm just gonna have a really good time and be crazy entertained. But it's the originality and creativity of each character that the writers created, but also the way that the actors acted them that really made me love this show. Because I love The Office so much and it relates to me and my cake creation, I wanted to create something original and creative with the Office characters that I could save forever. So I decided to create 4 Office cookie characters. My name's Melissa and I'm an artist. I create cakes, sculptures, and a lot of other cool things. Today I'm going to show you how I created my 4 Office cookie characters, which hang right next to me while I work in my studio to inspire me all day long. So let's get to it and create these cookies. I knew I wanted to paint each of my characters' faces super hyper realistic and then place them on these cartoony looking cookie bodies. I thought it would be a super funny contrast and combines that realistic side of art that I love with the more creative and loose style I like to combine together. I traced a template of each of the characters' faces and then transferred it onto a piece of fondant with some Tylose powder in it, which keeps it nice and hard and firm so it'll last forever. And then I proceeded to paint all of their faces. I used powder food color mixed with vodka, and with one tiny little bristle brush for these tiny little faces, I went ahead and painted all of the detail, exact, looking at a photo as I did it to make sure I got that hyper-realistic look and captured that unique expression that defines each of their characters. I always start with the eyes for each one and then work my way outwards because the eyes are the soul of the face. They're the most important. You need to nail those accurately in order to get the exact expression that you want. And you'll notice that each character did not feel 100% alive until I added that white highlight dot on their eyes in the end. And once I did that, all of a sudden it was like they were right there in front of me, staring at me. For the 4 characters, I had to choose Michael, my all-time cringy favorite, Dwight, the absolutely hilarious one, Jim, who sees the ridiculousness of what's going on but can't do anything about it, and Pam, who kind of ties the whole glue of the family together. Believe it or not, I painted these faces back in 2020, and then COVID hit and the project just kind of went on the back burner. And then all of a sudden in 2023, I start making my YouTube channel and I'm like, I have to finish these Office cookies. And so I did. Once I had my faces painted, it was time to create the templates for each of their outfits. I drew out a more minimalistic version of each of their outfits, making sure to keep with the classic style, Michael's suit, Dwight's mustard shirt, Pam's sweater, and Dwight's super plain blue shirt, but simplified of course, because I can't add every single detail in royal icing on a cookie. And then I colored all of my royal icing in the exact colors that I needed for all of their outfits. I actually made that blue on Jim's shirt a little bit too dark. And being lazy and not really wanting to fix it, I said to my husband, do you think this blue on Jim's shirt is okay? And he says, no, Melissa, that's like a baby blue. And the blue on Jim's shirt has to be the most boring light blue that you can think of because that's Jim's character. So I had to go back and redo blue, but he was right in the end. He was right. Fast forward from 2020 to 2023, I now own a projector, which is very, very useful when I'm tracing on cakes or on cookies, so I don't have to do a template and then transfer it onto the cake. I just hold my projector there and I have my detailing that I need to follow along. And I linked below the exact projector that I bought. It is just the most useful tool in these situations to have. Cannot stress that enough. Because royal icing takes time to dry, I have to work on all of the cookies simultaneously. So I'll do Dwight's shirt, I'll let it dry a little bit, and then I'll go in later to add on the collar and the edges on his shirt sleeves. Same thing for Jim's shirt or Michael's suit. For Pam, I do her top and the bottom of her skirt, let it dry, and then I add in the top section of her skirt later on. Because if you add wet on wet against each other with royal icing, the colors will blend together and they won't look like separate sections. For royal icing, I also have two different types of viscosity for them. So when you want to flood the shirt, pipe it, and then fill it all in, that's called flooding. You want a loose royal icing that has more water added to it. When I'm doing something more stiff, like the detailing on the belt, the ties, Pam's sweater, I want a more stiff frosting that has a little bit less water to it. So for a bunch of the colors, I make two different bags, one that's more runnier and one that's more stiff. As I was creating these cookies, I was thinking about my favorite episodes. And I've got to say, my top two all-time favorites are the dinner party at Michael's house and the rabies fun run for the cure. And I was a little curious and looked up online what people rate as the top episodes. And to my surprise, those were the top two episodes that most people rated as their favorites. So I'm curious, do you agree on that, or do you have a different episode that's your favorite? And if you do, please comment below because I'd love to hear. Once everything was piped, I went ahead and just added a little painting detail on those ties and made the belt buckles gold. And it was time to add on the faces to these adorable cookies. I just used some melted chocolate, a little bit on top, and pressed on gently each of my painted faces onto the cookie, and the chocolate hardens really quickly and creates a really secure bond, so those heads are not going anywhere. I was in love with the final result. These turned out exactly how I wanted. The perfect way to create my own original works of art based on this show that I love so much and inspires me so much. But these cookies are meant to last forever. They are not for eating. So I went ahead and bought myself a shadow box, which I linked below if you'd like to know where I got it from. And by placing my cookies in the shadow box, I can hang them up and have them last forever. Royal icing does not fade over time. It doesn't really go bad, and neither do sugar cookies, or at least I don't think. We'll see what happens in the next, I don't know, 5 to 10 years. But I'm hoping good things. I secured each cookie in place with just some hot glue stuck really beautifully to the linen background. And I applied just a little bit of pressure on each one to make sure it stuck well. I did accidentally crack Pam's skirt a little bit, but you can't tell unless you look really, really close. And once they were added on, I secured them properly in the box, and it was time to hang it on the wall. I hammered a nail into the wall and hung up the shadow box right next to the area where I work in my little apartment. I've got my little desk with some photos next to me of things inspire me, and it is just the perfect work of art for me to look at and admire. And it just makes me think of how much I love the show, how much happiness and laughter it's brought me over the years while I'm working, and hopefully will continue to bring me because I'm not done rewatching it as I work. And it just makes me feel creative and inspired all day long. I'm just absolutely in love with how these cookies came out. They make me so happy to stare at every day. And I feel like it could be such a good gift for people to order, like a cookie of their favorite characters or of their loved ones. So if you're interested, shoot me an email. As someone who doesn't make a lot of cookies or work with royal icing a lot, I was proud of the work I did. I made sure not to go too detailed so that way I wouldn't get too overwhelmed with all that royal icing. I know some people out there can just do absolutely amazing things with royal icing, and I'd love to explore more of what can be done with it. But as a beginner, I was happy with this look. I know there's so many TV shows out there. The Office happens to be my favorite, but I love so many more. So if you've got a favorite show that you love and would like to see me create some characters from it, comment below what show, what characters. Maybe we have similar interests and you just might see me create those characters in the future. Out of cake, out of cookies, out of art. Who knows? If you enjoyed watching me create these Office cookie characters, please give this video a thumbs up and do not forget to subscribe for so many more cool videos to come. If you'd like to see the entire process of me creating these cookies from start to finish, no cuts, check it out on my Patreon, linked below. Thank you so much for watching this video, whether you're a fan of The Office or just like watching me create cool characters out of cookies. Thank you for following along, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.